down. Lay down. Lay down. Hey y'all. Sorry, I realized the microphone was on when I was telling Stella to lay down before I went live. And if you heard it, I'm sorry, but she's being a little bit restless. She thinks she hears somebody outside, so she's being a little bit restless. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. The weekend went by in a blur. Here we are Monday already, but thankful for great services yesterday. Baptized 2 people yesterday after second service, and what a blessing it is to see people giving their public profession of faith. It's just amazing to me. Today I want to talk about I'm in Mark 2, and I want to talk about how important our circle is. Several days later, Jesus returned to Capernaum. The news of his arrival spread quickly through the town. Soon the house where he was staying was so packed with visitors that there wasn't room for one more person, not even outside the door. So it wasn't even standing room only. There was no room. There was absolutely zero room. And he preached the word to them. So he was inside and he was preaching the word, and everybody was hearing what he was preaching, and it just, people kept gathering, but there was no more room in this house. And houses in Bible times were built of stone. So, I mean, they weren't big. They were, smaller. So they were packed in there. They were packed in there like sardines, so to speak. 4 men arrived carrying a paralyzed man on a mat. They couldn't get to Jesus through the crowd. So they have this man on a mat, 4 men carrying him. They couldn't get to Jesus through the crowd, so there was no room for them to even make room. They couldn't even move enough to get the man on the mat in front of Jesus. So they dug through the clay roof above his head. His 4 friends went up to the roof, took him, dug a hole big enough. It was made of clay. They dug the hole big enough. Then they lowered the sick man on his mat right down in front of Jesus. They cared so much for that man and his condition, and they knew that Jesus could heal him. So when they got there and they saw that they couldn't get in the normal way through the door, they took action. The paralyzed man's need moved his friends to action, and they brought him to Jesus. This is in my study Bible. When you recognize someone's need, do you act? Many people have physical and spiritual needs you can meet, either by yourself or with others who are also concerned. Human need moved these 4 men. Let it also move you to compassionate action. Sometimes we see somebody struggling and we're like, oh, somebody else will help them. Somebody else will do that. I don't need to do that. Somebody else will do that. And he's telling us, when you see somebody else, move to action. Move to what God has called us to do. Then they lowered the sick man on his mat right down in front of Jesus. Seeing their faith, because they had faith enough to climb up on that roof, dig that hole, and put that man down in front of Jesus. Jesus said to the paralyzed man, "My son, your sins are forgiven." But who was there? Who was going to start? But some of the teachers of religious law were sitting there and said to themselves, "What? This is blasphemy. Who but God can forgive sins?" Jesus knew what they were discussing. I mean, it's a small place. It may have been packed and it may have been a little bit noisy, but he knew. He could hear what they were saying. So he said to them, "Why do you think this is blasphemy? Is it easier to say to the paralyzed man, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or 'Get up, pick up your mat, and walk'? I will prove that I, the Son of Man, have the authority on earth to forgive sins." Then Jesus turned to the paralyzed man and said, "Stand up, take your mat, and go home, because you are healed." The man jumped up, took the mat, and pushed his way through the stunned onlookers, and they all praised God. "We have never seen anything like this before," they exclaimed. It matters who's in your circle. You want those that are going to take you to Jesus. Not to condemn you. Not to throw rocks at you. Not to stone you. But so Jesus can heal you. We all have a portion in our life, whether it's physical, spiritual. We need healing. We need healing. And so many times we beat each other up. And we bash each other. And we say things that we shouldn't say. And we do things that we shouldn't do. And we get corrected for that. God will correct us. He does. It hurts. It's hard. It hurts. It hurts hard. But he does correct us because he loves us. He loves us like that. That's how he loves us. He loves us enough not to let us stay where we are. He loves us enough to correct us, to guide us, and to move us into the path that he has for us. So we need to remember, we don't need to have that religious teacher that's going to throw out everything. We need to have that relationship with Jesus. That relationship that says, I know my Jesus can heal you. And I know you're hurting right now. I know the things, I don't understand everything that you've gone through, but I know you're hurting, and let's go to Jesus for the healing. That's what we need to be doing with one another. Instead of poking at what we know is already a raw sore. Sometimes we do like to pick at it. Pick, because we already know they're raw. It's talking about kicking a man when they're down. We can change that, and we can say, I see you're hurting. Let's go to my Jesus, and he can heal you. These men knew that if they could get him to Jesus, if they could get this paralyzed man to Jesus, he would heal him. And I know Jesus can heal us today, every day, no matter what it is. He can heal us. A lot of times we want to play victim in a scenario that we caused. We have to be careful in that. We have to own what we've done. We have to go to Jesus and ask him for forgiveness. And sometimes we have to go to somebody else and ask for forgiveness as well. But we have to go to Jesus and we have to ask for forgiveness. He gives it. He doesn't hold it against us. He heals us. When we ask, he heals. When we ask, he hears. Is that healing always going to be immediately? No, because his timing is different than our timing. But he can and will heal us. Sometimes we have to take the action. Sometimes we have to move ourselves to him instead of sitting on our blessed assurance and saying, Jesus, I'm here and I'm struggling and I don't know what I'm going to do. When he said, he's already told you, this is what I need you to do. I need you to do this, 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 and this. And we're still sitting there going, Jesus, I don't know what you want me to do. And he's told us what we need to do. We need to move ourselves to Jesus. And who's in your circle does matter. I hope you guys are having a great, great day. I hope that you're enjoying the warmth. I did walk outside earlier, walked around the building with Stella, and just soaked in a little bit of that warmth. It's still a little cool in here to me, but I like warm, so it's probably not cool in here. It's just me. But it's nice, and we're in that fake spring because I looked at the weather, and we're going to have a nice day today and a nice day tomorrow, and then the wind chill on Wednesday is going to be in the teens. We're in fake spring. Here it comes back. here it comes back. Winter's going to make one more, maybe two, who knows. And I have flowers blooming. I was at my mom and dad's yesterday, and there were daffodils already bloomed. And I noticed in my flower bed, which is an unkept flower bed, unfortunately, but I noticed there were some flowers coming up, and I'm like, oh, I hope they go ahead and bloom before it gets cold, so I can at least enjoy them for a minute. But we're in that fake spring, so we do live in Oklahoma, and the weather does have a mind of its own. So I hope you guys have a great evening. I saw a lot of posts on Facebook about how softball and baseball started up yesterday, and man, it's hard to believe we're only in February, but here we go. It's getting started, and it's a busy time for a lot of parents, but it's a good time. Kids get to learn and get to have fun and get to enjoy. So I hope you have a great evening, if it's full of practices or whatever it may be. I want to thank our sponsors, Donna and Sheila Ferris, Kim Morris, Gordon and Dee Kennard, Stacy Reese at My Travel Misha, Genesis Home Health, Parco Tax, the Watkins family, and Travis and Maddie Holloway. Thank you all so much for pouring into our social media. Men, don't forget you have a meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the multipurpose building, and then youth will be here on Wednesday, K through 5th at 6, and 6 through 12th at 7. Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering what it is, how that breakup is, but that's how it is. We'll feed you, and Chris will feed you and take care of you and do all the things, and we look forward to seeing you all. I hope you can have a great day. I will see you again tomorrow.